Something
Hey there, soccer fans, soccer fans. Welcome to episode 47 of the pod, and episode 7 of Social Distance that you can find on YouTube. In case, you didn't just want to hear these gravelly, wonderful voices.
Beautiful man.
You can also look at these mugs.
Beautiful man.
And look at you. You're still shaving every single day.
No, I'm not.
Like
I haven't shaved since the last time. I just don't grow as fast as you do, bro.
Actually, some would say that I grew mine kind of slow. I'm like on week, what is this? Only a month in. But it's getting there. You can listen. You can hear it. Listen, soccer fans. Yeah, that's gross.
Wait. I was allowed to shave here, but not the mustache, right? So this is what I'm gonna let it grow out.
Dude,
I'm gonna let this one grow out.
That would be amazing. It would be amazing to have.
Yeah, what do?
I would absolutely love that. I think that'd be fantastic. Hey, dude, behind you, there is a killer hornet. What about that? Have you heard about that? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I did. Somebody put like a meme about like Jesus Christ is like, oh yeah, here's coronavirus. Oh, on top of that, we'll give you a hornet that's gonna completely destroy you.
Oh my god! Like we don't need more things right now. Those things are scary as heck. I mean, they don't. Yeah.
It comes from Japan, right? And it kills 50 people a year, bro. So in addition to the 10,000 or 1,000 people we're killing right now, the hornets are going to take care of the other people that actually like you and I, right? Because we're like younger.
Yeah, younger. Well, I am.
I'm trying to scare coronavirus. I'm trying to scare the coronavirus.
Well, to make it actually a little bit more scary, I'm hearing also too now that you have it's been mutating. Now it can affect
like
children and affect it's getting
super coronavirus.
Getting a little scary. Like soon as it might be just something that we're gonna have to just live with. Live our lives, wear masks or whatever. But we all have to get back at it. But chance you might be out of here in 2 weeks.
You know what? It's hard to kiss my wife with a mask on. It just doesn't make sense.
She's not kissing you.
And sex is even worse.
Hey, this is a kid-friendly podcast here. A kid-friendly podcast. So, Louis, a few things are happening. One, no live sports, which means no live soccer. So you and I don't have a lot to talk about as far as the games of the week like we used to. So we're doing something new, right? We are now reaching out to different podcasts.
We have.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Yeah.
Oh.
I would say we have morphed, or we have adapted.
We're like the coronavirus.
We adapt. We adjust. We become whatever the times is. So now, and in all honesty, like I gotta give you credit because you're running this show, man. Like you're like the driver of this bus.
I'm a showrunner. Is that what you're saying?
You're like you're running the bus. I'm just riding along with you. So
hey, don't cry, Louis. There's no other person that I would want to be on a bus with.
I know I don't say. I
couldn't even compliment you right. I'm sorry.
You just let me talk. Let me talk, my brother.
Okay, go.
Anyway, so I just want to.
Go ahead. You say something.
I just want to give you credit. You see, you can't talk. Anyways, I just want to give you credit for doing all this, man. This is all the interviews that have happened before and are happening now is because you're setting it up. Everything that the show is running great because you are, running the show. So, good job, man.
Well, and also it's because we're
lonely. This is talking right now. I'm kidding.
And we have, we're in quarantine, so we need to talk. We need to branch out. We need to get out there. We need to have these conversations with people. Like normally.
Get bigger.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm definitely doing that, and that doesn't help. This doesn't help. I'm gonna crack this open very soon. But I do want to. We did get a chance to meet with Hendel Leiva. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Leiva. From the Immigration Mike podcast. Check it out. It's some serious stuff. And, we joked about how we're just two guys who drink beer and love soccer and also drink whatever you got in your your cup there. We may never know. We may never know. And he's got a very serious and very important podcast where he talks to immigration activists, people who, love social change and are actually, involved in social change. And we had a really interesting conversation with him. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, minorities, I call myself minority because I am for a fact. I don't know what you call yourself, but it's very
the majority
important to, it's very important to know stuff where where you come from, what has make you, what made you go from a country that you didn't have a chance to where you're at now, and the trajectory of it, right? Like how did you come from A to Z? It's and what are you doing to make it better, right? Not just for yourself, but for other people. And
exactly.
I feel like Hendel, and I was watching one of his podcasts.
You're watching it. You're amazing.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I was hearing that. There's no video, I think. But
I didn't have to be a jerk. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Such a jerk. But anyways, I like the fact that he interviews people and their backgrounds, and they kind of tell them I was born here, and this is what made me who I am now. So I truly liked his approach to immigration and stuff like that.
Yeah. Babies.
Why should
babies are coming? They're there to get you. They're there to get you. Okay. Why don't we cut to the interview? This is how it went. Hendel, first I want to say thank you for joining our pod. I know you're a busy guy, and you joined our silly little pod where Louis and I just spend most of the time drinking lots of beers. Cheers to you, Hendel.
Cheers. I don't have a Bud Light right now, but if I did, I cheers.
And I have a few Coronas here if you want.
Louis, show your cup. Louis, show your cup there. That's Louis' mystery cup. We never know how much vodka's in there until the end of the podcast. And then
we call it iced tea. Yeah, we call it iced tea.
This is going to be interesting then.
Yeah, it's going to get real interesting.
I'm going to start taking off my shirt and stuff.
Oh man.
Hey, by the way, before you go on, I gotta give you props for that jersey you're wearing.
Thank you. So I just need to say, this is the first soccer podcast I've ever been on, and I think if you had known me a couple of years ago, you would know that it's a miracle that I'm wearing a soccer jersey. Because for me, growing up, basketball was always my thing. But
that's this guy right here. That's this guy. He's he might be over here. He might be over here.
We're connecting, but yes, but I think the way that my fandom has developed, I have to wear the Barcelona jersey to the first ever soccer podcast that I'm guesting on. So thank you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And you're dressed for the occasion, but you're dressed to be Louis' best friend. All right, so
by the way,
Go ahead.
I want to hear the story though. How you went from maybe liking soccer to hating it to liking it back, because my story is very similar to yours. So I'm kind of curious to know, how did this change happen in your life?
Yeah. So you were mentioning earlier about your dad always watching soccer, and that's similar to my dad, where he, for as long as I can remember, to now, he goes to works, a grueling day, comes back and just lies down and watches soccer all the way through, right? And I never really understood it because soccer to me was always very slow, too slow for me. And
that's most people when they first look at soccer, they go, "Oh, that's boring. That's
0-0.
That sucks." Yeah,
that's it. I mean, people want a winner, right? And when it's a 0-0 score, they're disappointed.
I always wonder why it wasn't 30 to 40, or they're getting paid all these big bucks. Why are they not scoring more than 10?
What gets people? What I hear the most are ties. No sport should end. How can you get a win with a tie? What is that? They don't understand that. Yeah.
You have a big goal post. Why can't you make a goal?
It's
what's
huge.
wrong with
It's
people?
huge. Exactly.
Huge. What's wrong? Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So, my dad obviously, all dads, they kind of push you, to try soccer or to try guitar or something like that. But I just, when I tried to play for a season, I was a chubby kid, and I didn't play well. And then I remember there was one time, in the finals of that season, one of the teams scored, the goalie kicked the ball from the end of the goal into the other goal, straight.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling so demoralized after that, you know, and I was playing defense. So, so yeah, I must have been like, you know, this was like early, I don't know, like 12 or 13. And then from there, I was like, soccer's not for me. This is not. Fast forward, you know, years later, you know, I go into my career, community organizer, activist, all of this, right? And so to kind of get ahead into like what my podcast is about, it's called Immigration MIC, where I interview activists from across the nation. And it's a lot of, you know, progressive like politics sort of a podcast. And so the way that the story goes is that the podcast came about when I got fired a few years ago. I think it's been 4 years.
Were you fired from what was you were watching soccer at your station? You got so heavily involved in the soccer world, but they caught you
that would be
soccer.
A story. That would be a story. No, but it was more like, you know, I was like, you know, this. I was starting to become this like really established, prominent, you know, figure in my field. And then, you know, I ran into like some weird people at the top level.
It's like me.
And then I got
this guy.
Really? Okay, so we have a similar life story. And so yeah, so I got fired, and it was a very unceremonious firing, and I really sank into a low place, right, where everything in my life started falling apart. And that's where the podcast was born, because I essentially made one video on Twitter, essentially begging for a job. But the fact that people liked it and continued sharing it. Right? Yeah. Like they continue sharing it, made me think that, okay, maybe I have something to offer and people will like the content that I make. So that kind of like, you know, progressed where I went into podcasting. But as far as like soccer, so even though I was doing the podcast, I continued to fall into like a deeper depression, and I continued making mistakes in my life and just spiraling out of control. And I think soccer was one of those things that came about unexpectedly back into my life in 2018, when the World Cup came about. And I had watched the World Cup before, and it was like a once a year thing. But like this time, I really sat down and became heavily invested in the gameplay and what was happening on the pitch. And so this is how I started looking at it. Soccer, to the untrained eye, is a game of Tetris. Like, it's puzzle pieces trying to fit together to kind of get the ball and navigate it, right? And then, to me,
Louis,
soccer...
I hope you're paying attention. This is how
I'm going to use this for my FIFA 20 gameplay, because I'm really bad about that.
So I began to see it as a game of Tetris, but then it became a game of memory to me, because I started picking out certain players I recognized the names of. Then I began recognizing certain teams. Then I began recognizing certain leagues. Then I began recognizing like the flow of money through countries and societies, and just how prominent soccer is outside of the United States, and understanding why my dad, why my cousins, why everybody in my life had such an obsession. And then I started to become obsessed, because I started learning small pieces of trivia here and there. And that's what it became. It became a game of memory to me until like, yeah, I mean, it just kind of like now I do consider myself to be a full-fledged soccer fan. And that's why, you know, I appreciate your podcast, because, you know, you refer to it as a silly podcast, but to me, you guys are teaching culture, you know, so you're teaching culture to someone like me, someone who is not as well versed in soccer and wants to have a podcast that's accessible and to be able to learn things. So, I mentioned to João the other day, listening to one of your podcasts, I learned that EPL stands for English Premier League, and I had no idea what that was. I thought it was similar to EPN, the president of Mexico. It's these small things that have developed my soccer fandom. So that's kind of an introduction as to, you know, how 2 years later I'm sitting here on this podcast, and to a lot of people, it's a miracle that I'd even do this, you know?
Yeah. And for us, that's, you know, we are a very silly podcast, and we came up with the name Soccer Stupid, not because really we are stupid, though we might be just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. But really, it's madness. It's soccer madness. And that's exactly it. We got absolutely obsessed about the game, right? So it wasn't just watching it, you know, it was like, you know, we couldn't not talk about it. We were talking about it all of the time. And we're like, let's just record it. Let's record our conversations.
The reason also why we decided for, the stupid title there was because we don't want people to come back and be like, hey, you got it wrong, the facts, we want to be like, hey, did you see our title?
We definitely did not want, we can't remember.
Yeah,
We don't do names. We don't do names, player names. We can't remember them. We hardly even remember the outcome of some games, right? Did that happen last week or the week before?
Right.
So that was very important to us that, yes, we are silly because, going back to the obsession and the fandom, you have people out there who are like hardcore, soccer fans. So if you get it wrong, you do get that email. You do get that And so we wanted to make sure that, listen, this is we're very silly people, and it's just a fun conversation. But talking to people like you, we had with the whole COVID experience. This is kind of how we are kind of figuring it out, right? So there are no live soccer games going on. We are immersed in documentaries and. Oh my God, we're reading soccer books and we're kind of getting better at our FIFA play. But another thing that we're doing too is, we're reaching out to other podcasts and, because we're so lonely. And it's great to have you on the show and, also to kind of reach out to the podcast community and see how they are kind of coping with the whole COVID-19 situation. How's that affecting you and how has it changed or, have you been creative to kind of keep the conversation going during this time?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So I guess to think back, I think back to 2018 when the World Cup was there and there was something to distract me, right? And so that's why, I really owe a lot of the ability to have gotten better from having that, being able to distract me. So currently at work, everything has been shifted to digital, right? And so right now we're trying to figure out remote recording for the podcast that I produce at work. I'm using the Immigration Mind podcast right now to be able to amplify the voices of people who are on the front lines. And, I have family myself on the front lines. And so just trying to do what I can with the, with the skills that I have, right? The gifts that I have. And I think that's important. But then I think it's also important, during this time to form these new connections, right? And to try to find like these small places that we can intersect. And I think soccer is one of those big ones. I think that, so one awesome thing, that I've been seeing is that soccer clubs are stepping up during this time to assist in their countries and in their local communities. And, so when I saw that Barcelona, players were going to take a pay cut and send that money back into their communities, that kind of thing is important, and, just kind of knowing the history of Barcelona and how they've, they train children, at the academy, from when they're young, but also instill in them the fundamentals of what it means to be to be of service to be of service to your community and to be a good person overall. I think that is reflective in the club's culture and spirit. And again, I've only been a fan for a couple of years, but that to me shines through as I see it.
Yeah. And Louis wishes that he was born in Barcelona so he could be part of that upbringing.
Well, you don't really have to be born in Barcelona if you're great, like Messi, right? Where this kid came from Rosario, Argentina.
That's right.
Argentina, right? So I mean,
and he had a growth issue, right?
Yeah.
Then the FC Barcelona actually paid for his
medical bills and stuff like that. Yeah. And then eventually, he got flown to Spain and his dad came along and now he's the best.
He's all right.
Times.
He's okay. He's okay.
No, but you're right. And the, when I watched the documentary, I saw that he was actually going to be flown back, right? Because there was a point where they thought he wasn't going to play, and there was someone who took a chance. I think the coach took a chance and said, we're going to sign him, we're going to keep him, we're going to raise him. And now he's, arguably one of the, the best soccer player in history. I mean, my dad tells me,
one of the.
Right. I mean, my dad says to me, Hendel, you didn't grow up in the Pele, Maradona era. So,
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
I'm like, okay, I'm learning, right? I'm learning.
Maradona, by the way.
Right. So, so I guess to go kind of into how my fandom developed, so yes, it started with the World Cup, but then again, I began following, and a couple of months later, I had a trip scheduled to go to Paris, and right during that week, PSG was playing,
Nice.
and yeah, and so I was always attracted to PSG because of the color scheme and the Eiffel Tower, but the chance to go to Parc des Princes and like sit there and watch Mbappe, Neymar, Cavani, Angel Di Maria.
Jealous over here.
You know,
jealous.
I'm listing out these names, right? And the thing is, like, I when I was there and I was in the, I was all the way at the top, right? But I appreciated the atmosphere and the intensity of the fans, and like I came away even more inspired. And so when I came back, like I had to continue following, and like the great thing is that, whether it's been, I tried to play another soccer season myself, recreationally. I scored 2 goals. I wasn't the best, but like,
That's the opposite of when I tried to play soccer. I ran for like 10 minutes and I passed out. I'm like, I'm done. We went back to just watching it.
I did my job.
Right. But the thing is, like, what that showed me, what that proved to me was, I understand why these players get paid millions of dollars and why they aren't scoring more than 1 goal in a game.
Yeah. I mean, it's going back to the community aspect of it. So, we don't have, MLS is, I call it, I'm gonna make a lot of people very angry who listen to this pod. Get ready. I call it accessible soccer because
sure.
we have LAFC, who is fantastic, and probably they had the best record last season. But it's not anywhere going to see PSG or going to what is it called, Camp Nou in Barcelona, where you have you have in MLS you have the supporting section, right, where you go across Europe, everywhere else it's the entire stadium. And that's something, even for me, I don't know, Louis, if you've experienced it, but I have not experienced, seeing a real match, right, in Europe, and actually seeing like the entire stadium, chanting and just being just one kind of, one group or one community. And I'd like to see that. I'm excited, and I think it'll take us some time here in the U.S., but I'd love to see that more in MLS or the LAFC and like these places. So you're a lucky man. You got to see it.
Yeah. I mean,
jealous.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I've also made it a point to, like, whenever I can, to actually become, more with the fandom, right? So like I have gone to Red Bull Stadium a couple of times when Atlanta United plays, because Martinez is my favorite player, MLS. Yeah. And when he was paired up with he went to the Premier League. See, this is why it's called Soccer Stupid, right?
Usually we have
a VAR. A VAR is like my brother who actually looks up for things that we forget.
Miguel Almiron. That's what I'm talking about. So Martinez and Almiron were paired up.
We need you on the show more. It came right to you. Both of us would be on our phones, like looking it up. There's no way any of us would have.
Like I said, it's a game of memory, right? So so them being paired up, so I enjoy going to watch them play. I've gone to see the Gold Cup being played in Ohio, which was Trinidad versus the U.S. And before that, I had heard a podcast about their rivalry. So when I was there, I knew how important it was to, watch the U.S. men's national team play against Trinidad. I stood outside for 2 hours in the financial district when the Women's World Cup and Megan Rapney and what's her name?
Don't ask us. Don't ask us.
No. I'm trying to remember her name. Alex. Is it?
Oh, Alex Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have no idea what she's doing not having my baby. You know what I'm saying? Right. But like, watching them on the float, and standing outside 2 hours for them just because I was amazed at their gameplay. Going to a bar last summer and like, watching, I think it was Colombia versus Argentina play, and just being in that bar and feeling that electricity, that atmosphere. I'm just like, wow, like this is such a good moment to have come into this fandom. Yeah. And I'm proud. I'm proud to be a part of it now.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, right? And even like, look at this. I mean, even soccer is bringing us together, right? We're 2 podcasts who have completely different. You got the more important immigration mic, right?
The real stuff.
The real stuff.
Equally as important.
But meeting with Soccer Stupid, and and that also shows you that this is something that kind of brings people together. it's great having you on the show, and we'd love to jump on Immigration Mike and chat it up with you and tell Louis' immigration story. He's got a lot in there. Yeah.
Sure, my story is very interesting, Joao. Very interesting. Anyways, but I actually before we move forward, Joao, I actually was listening to one of your shows, and I saw David Silva, and I was like, you know David Silva in the soccer world?
Right, the name. There's the name correlation, right?
With the boy, I mean, he's amazing. He plays for Manchester City, and he's one of my favorites, right? Because that's my team in the APL. Anyway, so I was curious about it, and I was listening to your podcast and his interview. Very interesting. I mean, this boy from Colombia. We're talking about Cali, Joao. We're talking about like narcotráfico, and the narcs, and how he, him and his family, it became so normal for things to be like, so and so just died.
Pass me the milk. Like,
yeah.
Amazing story. So, props to your podcast, bro. I'm gonna be listening to it because I'm an immigrant, and I came illegally. Joao, I came here illegally. Joao actually is an immigrant too from Brazil. So we all come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's true. So we'd love to chat. We'd like to chat more with you on your podcast, and hopefully we have a little bit more time to do that. It sounds like on your podcast you have it's the conversation, right? It's the conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I guess before we hop off, I just want to take a moment, right? Because I don't know if you guys know what 1 year ago today was. So.
You're asking stupid question here.
It was probably probably the biggest heartbreak of my life, right? When Barcelona was eliminated from the Champions League by Liverpool.
Oh, that hurt.
Right?
As a Liverpool fan.
I didn't feel that same heartbreak. It felt more like love.
But let me tell you why. So in the first leg,
I'm the bad guy in this podcast. By the way. I feel outnumbered this time. Usually Louis is outnumbered, but now I'm outnumbered.
So in the first leg of the series, right? Like I feel like I've never experienced love like seeing Messi do that free kick. That beautiful free kick, and they had scored. I think it was 3-0. Yeah. And then in the second leg, you thought Barcelona had it in the bag, like this. They were heading on to the finals or whatever, and it was just a massacre, unlike anything. And it was mistake after mistake after mistake. And I remember I was sitting there in the office with my phone and I was watching it, and like once the final whistle blew, I remember I sat there with chills and anger and rage, and I was like, this is what it means to be a soccer fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I get it. Now, this is the love, the passion, the rage, everything, and I get it now. So I think since that moment, a year ago today, I truly became a soccer fan, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Am I a soccer fan? What do you think?
Dude,
definitely.
I mean, the emotions that you felt that day, I felt them myself. And then me and Joao were big rivals.
I felt them a completely different way. I felt them.
Yeah, we usually are opposites. Like he's Brazil, I'm Argentina. He's Liverpool, I'm Manchester City right now.
Yeah.
Barcelona. I don't know if he really cares about Real Madrid, but he'll probably choose them over. Not just to be
just for sake.
Yeah. So then
the bad guy.
That day I was at a restaurant with my coworkers and my boss, and one of them, he's actually a soccer fan, Vic. And they had TVs there, so I'm watching the game as it's happening, and I'm like, we're good. We scored 3 goals in Barcelona, but we could have scored that 4th goal, but Umtiti missed that one easy shot. I don't know if you remember this. In Barcelona. So we could have been 4-0, but it ended up being 3-0. So I'm watching this game at the restaurant, and I'm like, okay, so we're okay. The problem was that they self-destructed in the last, 10 minutes? So it wasn't like Liverpool was.
That's because I was praying. I prayed right around that moment, right there.
Right. So all of a sudden they just completely self-destructed. That's when they scored like the 2 goals. They were tied up. Like it was 3-3, right? 3, Barcelona, 3 in Liverpool. And then, of course, the devastation happened a few minutes later, and I was like, It's hard to it's hard to be with your
amazing.
coworker, your boss, and be happy when something like that happens. You kind of want to just
Louis,
get the hell out of there.
why are you crying, Louis? Why are you crying? We'll pay for lunch.
And again, that's
you're a real fan, bro.
That's when I truly understood why people feel those emotions, and again, just really solidified in me that okay, like if I feel it this much, and it's unlike anything I've ever felt like for a sport, then like there's something happening to me. I am a soccer fan, so.
Yeah, no, you definitely are, and you may even be more of a soccer fan than we are. You went to like a lot more games than.
You got like real stats.
Yeah, you got exactly. You
got real stats.
PSG Live. Yeah, you're absolutely a fan. Man. And guess what? And once soccer, football, or what we kind of mix it together in Sacer. Once Sacer gets a hold of you, there's no letting
Sacer, right?
Sacer. The rest of your life.
Yeah.
Hendel, it was great having you on the show, and I hope we keep in touch.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay?
Gracias, Hendel. Gracias.
Let's do that.
Listen to Immigration Mike, everybody. It's fantastic stuff. Really important stuff.
Thank you.
Now, that was an interview and a half. True soccer fan. True soccer fan. I love how he asked, am I a soccer fan? Like, dude, I mean, come on. He's been to the games. We
certify him. We're going to certify him.
Yeah, he's certified. You are certified a soccer fan.
Sure.
Your heart's breaking when your team loses. That's what it's all about.
You want to kill somebody?
I actually thought that was fantastic. That it was probably like the first pod where I was outnumbered. Usually, you're the outnumbered one. Jeez. But again, check out Immigration Mike, the podcast. Hendel also produces Momentum, a Race Forward podcast. These are very important conversations that are being had, and we recommend you all going out there, check it out, and maybe when you listen, there might be a little soccer stupid in there. Maybe we'll find out. But thanks for being on the show, Hendel. It was great having you on. What'd you think, Louis? How'd you take the whole interview experience?
Well, as being Latinos, we have a lot in common, right? And the soccer part was very similar to mine. Eventually, we're going to do a podcast with him. So I don't want to disclose all the information, but because I usually do. So, yeah, man, excellent. Dude, I really liked him. Very humble, down to earth. And, he's just working to make the world better.
Make the world better.
But I truly enjoyed. I said earlier, I was listening to the podcast, and one of the things that came up, was the whole immigration thing. He interviews people from all over Latin America, and similarities are there. We come from like, it's sad to say, but like Latin America, for the most part, most of the countries have a bad reputation. And it's a real bad reputation, and we all come from there. And so the reason why we're here is to make our lives a little better. So I truly recommend for people to listen to his podcast.
Yeah, agreed. And again, it's another good example of how Sacer brings us all together, right? So the conversation even started him reaching out, and us even starting a conversation was around football. So I think. Again, this is why we have this podcast, right? And we're obsessed with the sport. It means more than watching a ball get kicked around, right? There's a community aspect of it. And, we talk about that in the interview. And I just think, again, it's lovely. Lovely? Do I ever use the word lovely? I guess I'm going to use the word lovely. It's lovely meeting people out there in the world who are, they don't have to have a soccer podcast, you can just, they can have a podcast about making the best lasagna on the planet. But you're a true fan. We'd love to have you on the podcast and have that conversation with you. Wouldn't you say that's true, Louis?
Yeah, I mean, soccer is such a, it's something that he brought up in his podcast. I mean, in the interview that I agree with. He said something about like, we all grew up with this sport, right? Like most of us. Just because it's not so popular here in America, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I mean, this is sport. This is sport that like everyone. It's just like all but one country enjoys this sport more than anything, and so it's so broad and so much to talk about. Like I mean, right now we can't talk about too much about it because there's nothing going on. But when it happens, it's a year-round thing. It's not just like 6 months like basketball, 6 months like football. This is a year-round thing. You got the leagues, you got the World Cups, you got the other cups, you have other league championships. So there's so much to talk about. And one thing it's funny, you brought this up with your son.
What's funny?
You talked to your son about FIFA, people that play FIFA, soccer, and versus people that play other other games, right?
Yeah.
And he thought he was like, oh, it's FIFA. It's probably like a very few, people playing it, but it turned out that FIFA is like completely taking over the world.
Yeah, it's like one of the highest. It's like one of the highest grossing games right out there. So we looked at like his favorite game, and then like FIFA, how many copies have sold for 20, and it was like insane. So and there's a kind of a community aspect in even playing online, right? Mainly it's heartbreak. I'm back to let's talk about FIFA for a second. I had I was going through a winning streak. Like in the last pod, I was Sunderland. Suddenly, I'm winning every game. I won like Liverpool. I was like suddenly winning every game, like maybe four games in a row, which is not. It's not what I do. It's not what I do. I beat you back then. We'll talk about that. Not the most recent game though. But and I got promoted. Not only did I win the division, but I got I was promoted, and now I can't. I won the first game, but now I can't win again. So I'm going down. I might get relegated right after my promotion. I'm trying to keep in the league here.
you know how when you this happens to you in every sports, right? You kind of jinx yourself.
What?
Remember we talked about the Dodgers and stuff like that before they won. Wait. Let me continue on.
I don't have control over it. I jinxed myself in FIFA. You sent me a text.
Yeah, well, you said this. You said this when you started doing. What are you now? Level 7, right?
Division 7.
Division 7. Then you said, "Oh, this is a good start." Do you remember that when you won the first game? You praised yourself.
Yes.
And what happened after?
Well, so FIFA, I can understand how it's a jinx, right? But that's also it's totally mental. It's totally mental, right? So like I go in there,
you destroy all sports.
I completely fall apart as a person, and then I start sliding my defense, and they score like 20 goals on me. But come on, I had nothing to do with the Dodgers losing. Just because I go, I think they got it, everybody. Come on.
You said we're gonna win it this year.
It's not me.
We got swept.
I also said that with the UEFA Championships, right? With Liverpool winning, and guess what? Hold on.
Did you?
Corona.
Did you really?
Actually.
Thank you, Corona. Take him out. So Corona is with me.
We could talk about that. But you and I did play recently. I was going to take my newfound skill that I suddenly absorbed, and I had a mental breakdown when I was playing with you. I think was it last night? You beat me 2-0, and I was like so angry. I was that gift for the kids, like crying, all angry. I was that kid.
Well, talking about when we play against each other, I become this like monster at home, right? And the wife.
I'd love to see that video. I'd love to see the video.
My wife gets a thrill out of it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I was looking at you and your expressions and the way you just behave yourself when you're playing against João. I need to record that so we can, I can show it to him."
And then
I was like, "Oh, this is the honest, because I'm very honest about how I feel, my feelings, my inner feelings." I said, "I really hate João when I play soccer against him. Like, I really hate him. I really want to beat him."
Yeah, and that's how I feel when I'm playing too. And this is why I think, again, we got to go live, man. You got to get yourself a camera. I got the webcam, and it's two a Louis and João box, and we got a live game going. We got to make that happen. Come on.
Well, we're gonna have to rate it R. Because of the faulty language that happens along with
language,
it. Explicit.
And maybe some nudity.
Explicit adversary.
I think we're gonna get better.
Now I'm trying to make time for it. Before I was like, I can take João anytime. Like I'm good. But you've gotten better. You've gotten better. So like I feel like I gotta step up to the plate, or else I'm gonna be Joao. You know what I mean? I don't want to be Joao. I want to be Joao for the last couple of years. That's not a good place to be at, you know. So I gotta get better. I gotta get better. Even though I'm in Division 10 because I got relegated.
Some Division 10 guy beat me 2-0 last night.
I don't care if I'm like in Division 20. As long as I can beat you, I'm good.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. We got to get another game going. And then I played against Var on. He's in 2019 on the Xbox, and he destroyed me like 7-0 or something. But I had a drifting joystick. I'm telling you, this guy would be running down the wing. And then a guy would literally, that I'm chasing him with, will literally go, whoop, like the opposite direction. It was driving me crazy.
Well, you know what?
He still would have beaten me that much, though.
You know that happens when you abuse your controllers. If you keep beating on them, eventually they're gonna betray you.
Yeah, so you're right. Well, that goes with the pure frustration where you're like, you're trying to stop every ball, get in front of every pass, and you're like really pushing on those joysticks. That's me. I'm probably gonna break the PS4 remote. I'm pretty sure.
We always talk about FIFA, FIFA's problems, right? Like how we feel about like the passes or like the free kicks. It's like a science, bro. It's like a science. I'm like, what? Or it just keeps going this way. I'm like, what am I supposed to do again? Like,
I have no idea.
I don't know. Somebody needs to sit down and make it as simple as possible for people like me or you over there.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I played against a dude who Messi had 2 free kicks, and he got them both, just like in real life. He was like right outside the box both times, back of the net. Like if I did that, it would just go right to the goalie's hands.
Not even that. It's gonna go like out of bounds. Like it goes like up. Like you're like, wait, did I just do that?
Yeah. Well, that's why we're in Division 8 and 10 because 10. It's gonna take some time.
It's gonna take a while, guys. It's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a little while. Yeah.
One thing that I was gonna the reason why I don't play too much against like yourself and stuff online is because I want to learn how to play. So I'll do like my own league play where I'm trying to learn the skills. But the skills kind of go away when I'm playing you, right? Like all the stuff that I've learned, it goes away. Like it completely. I'm like, I knew how to do this, but now I want to beat him so bad that my brain is like, just go forward.
That's what I mean. Like I play, like when I tell myself, Joel, just chill. Chill with the defense.
Get some skills.
Yeah. Just if you relax, you actually have a better game. But it's very impossible when I'm playing against you. It's just
especially when you have a goal against you. Everything goes out the window.
Oh yeah, that's when I definitely fall apart. I fall apart when I get equalized on, or definitely that's one goal ahead. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You have no idea how mad I am. Let's get that live game going.
So the funny thing is, like, where's your family when this is happening? They're already in bed and stuff.
Well, it depends, right? So I think you and I played a game around 10:30, 11. So everybody was in bed, and I try not to yell. I try not to go like, "God damn it!" Like, once in a while, when dinner's in the oven, I'll pop on to see if I can just get a game in, and usually, I'm yelling. Nobody likes it. They're like, calm down.
It's just a game.
Well, I usually yell. I usually will go score, and I'll go like, what the hell now? And I'll usually yell, I hate this game. I'm so mad.
You must say that a lot.
I actually do. It's definitely a love-hate relationship. It's definitely a love-hate relationship.
Well, winning feels good. Like when you win. Especially when you're like, I was playing this guy last night, and you saw the score was 1-0. And the funny thing about it was that I scored, and I was like kind of in control of the game. I felt like I was in control of the game until I scored. once I scored, I felt like he was better than me,
Yeah.
and he just kept attacking,
He was
attacking.
mad. He was
And
mad
I
as
was
hell.
like what? Yeah, but my problem is like, why am I not reacting to the way I was, playing earlier? Like, what's going on in my
That's what
brain?
I'm
Like,
saying.
am
It's
I giving
mental.
up?
It's mental. It's totally mental. I mean,
Going to 1-0,
going back to our interview, right? Where you have, sports are definitely a clearly a skill, but like a lot of it is, mental capacity. So like going back to our interview when we're talking about Barcelona versus Liverpool, right? I mean, Barcelona clearly can win in that situation, can clearly win UEFA, right? And they have. But like in the second leg, it just completely fell apart, right? I mean, that's mental, right? And that's happens with people the likes of us in FIFA 20.
Video gaming, guys. Video gaming, not real soccer. Yeah, man, it was rough.
But yeah,
I'm very glad that I beat you last night.
I know you are. It feels great, and it was great when I beat you the other day. My favorite game this week,
dude. That was good. No. Let's go over that game that I lost, so that way you can get some happiness out of this.
I don't even remember. I don't remember it. That was a while ago.
3-1, dude. It was a 3-1 game, and you were completely dominating me. But I hate putting excuses because I'm not about that.
Oh, lag, right?
There was a bad lag in there.
You're not about that. You're not about that.
No, but there was a bad lag going on in that game. You remember that, right?
Which is funny because I didn't have that much lag. It was like a little bit of lag in there.
That's what you wanted.
I didn't notice. I have a hack. I have a lag hack. It just
you know what's funny? You know what funny thing about lagging? Like you think about it, like when it's lagging, you think, what will be my next move when this ball finally gets back into normality? But I mean, sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it works against you because you cannot predict.
I had my favorite moment was when in my second game in Division 7, this dude, I'm not even kidding, was dominating 4-0. Okay, beating me 4-0. Game. It was like second half, and I don't like to quit games. There have been games where I've come back from a 3-goal deficit and won 4-3. No, I'm not. I said that's the one I sent you. I have proof. Remember, I sent you the goals.
Are you sure you were the one playing? You sure you probably invited Anthony to play for you?
Yeah, Anthony came over with his mask on. But this dude was winning 4-0, and then all of a sudden it said you lost connection to your opponent. We'll figure out what happened, and then it must have been him because I didn't get the win, but they gave me they basically canceled the game. Like it was no record, so I still had my first win.
Oh.
I was so happy. So I'm happy.
Well, I think that happened to me. Remember, that happened to me. Remember I told you, like I was like, hey dude, this guy was winning, and then he quit the game, so he ended up being like, no, I didn't get no like winning. I didn't get a W out of it. So I think when you're winning.
Yeah, I think when they realize there's no way through it, like there's no way you would have come back from it, and they lose, you just lose. You don't get the win. That's my guess.
I do the opposite.
Yeah,
I do the opposite when I'm already losing 3-0, and I'm like, I don't have a chance to come back because you know when you're playing like people that got skills, bro.
Yeah.
Like like, oh, there's no way I quit. Especially when it's like already 12 midnight. Don't tell the wife.
Yeah.
Tell the wife because she thinks I'm already in bed at 12 midnight, but I'm still playing. Like I'm like, I need to get this win. But then when I'm like already 3-0 and it's like 12:05, I'm like, it's time to go to bed. Good win, buddy. See ya.
Yeah. I try to, if I get a win, I try to not play anymore. I need to end the day in the evening with a win.
Fail at that
Sometimes
much.
I'm like, you know what? I got another one in me. And then the next guy destroys me 4-0. It's really the worst. It's really.
So wait, what was your record yesterday? You lost a few, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like I'm back to Sunderlandism, where I'm just, I'm losing.
This is the time to play you.
This is the time. Well, it started right around the time when you beat me. So I had my winning streak, and then you beat me that game, and now I'm like I'm just shot. My what do you call it? My ego, whatever I had going, where I'm like, got this. Breezing through it.
I do remember that. I do remember that text You're like, this is what a Division 7 would do, and this is what a Division 10 would do. Losing the game.
Oh yeah, that
I
was
remember the
the game.
I remember
Yeah,
the stuff. I remember the stuff, and I'm like, all right.
That's right. That was the game that I beat you, and you were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, all right. You know, I don't like to like trash because I like to keep it clean, right? Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you need to like tell the fans, why do you become so dirty when you're losing? You're like diving, trying to break my legs. What's wrong with you?
I told you.
What's wrong with you?
That's when the emotions come in, and I'm just so upset. And so I'm that kid in the GIF. I'm the kid in the GIF where I'm like, I'm crying, and I'm just like sliding everybody in there, which also hurt. Listen, but it hurts me in the end, right? I mean,
it does because like, if you slide and you miss, miss. That means my guy is completely open. Yeah. But you gotta understand, it's etiquette to be courteous, right? I'm losing against you. I don't dive. I don't try to hit you. I try to be human until the end.
No, I'm diving. That's what I mean. I need to calm down. I need to even if I get a goal against me, I need to just
zen it.
Just play the defense slowly. Pass. That's it. You know, I don't have to go crazy.
But the problem with overpassing is that you end up giving the ball away, right?
Oh yeah, that happens too. Yeah, you just need to breathe and just let the game happen. Yeah, treat it like a real game. I mean, some games don't go. They're not instantly everybody running around and trying to score. It's like it's opening up the defense. It's a little bit of a. It's like our buddy said. It's Tetris. It's
that's what,
a chess game.
Hendel said. Hendel said it's a Tetris game. It's you can't just go crazy on it.
Yeah.
Joe, have you ever like thought about how people think when they're so good and they're beating you? What do you think about those people? How are they feeling at the time when they're
laughing? They're laughing.
Taking you apart, like they're taking you apart, and you're like you're struggling. You're like running, like you just go that way, and they're like,
yeah.
I just want to be like physically next to them, so I can do something about it.
Yeah. Well, I think
they probably beat me up too. They'll be like karate people or like jiu-jitsu, like took me out. Like I'll be like, I'm done. You're not winning life.
It's some 8-year-old, he's just like sitting there in his sweatpants, and he doesn't care. He's eating like Doritos, and he doesn't even care.
He's like texting while he's beating you. Like
that's what I mean. No emotion there. Yeah, it's like it's your brother. It's far. It's exactly that kid right there.
Next time I see him, I'm gonna slap him in the face. I will slap him in the face.
Please do. I say we end on that note. Slapping
on
the face.
No, wait.
You got 5 minutes and 18 seconds, and go.
Make us dream, dude. Make us dream. With remember we talked about this documentary about our one of our favorites player of all time, Stevie G. I started watching it.
I gotta start watching it.
I started watching it.
Good. What? I still gotta remember it was my homework assignment. I still haven't watched it
today. Yeah. Well, I jumped in and I decided to do my job. Do my thing. So, dude. Very interesting story. Again, we talk about Sunderland, right? How the town is and how much involvement there is from the fans and everyone there. Same thing with Liverpool, bro.
Yeah.
Liverpool went through some hardship during the 60s, I think it was. See now, 70s. Who cares?
I don't even remember the hardship.
So hardship meaning like material wise, they were broke or whatever, but they had their soccer team. They had Liverpool, and Liverpool was great at the time. They were winning at the time. And so it talks about how Stevie G came from a family of like Liverpoolians who are like fanatics and they love the sport. And very awesome story, dude. Like right now, I just watched episode 1 and, it talks about Stevie G becoming, he's from a child, how he was even great coming up. And he was like a big prospect for the team, for Liverpool eventually, right? But the story, man. It's all about the story, bro. So I recommend for you to watch it.
I will.
I'm going to continue, and I'm hoping to have it probably completed by next week. I cannot assure you that because I have other stuff that I'm watching.
I'm going to watch it. This sounds like this is right up my alley. This is the kind of show I like.
That's your team. Liverpool. Come on, man.
I'm going to watch it.
You're a big Stevie G guy, right?
Starting tonight. I will watch it by next Thursday. I would have finished it by next Thursday. I promise. Pinky swear. Pinky swear. Pinky swear.
Wait. There you
got
go.
three. You got. Oh, damn! We messed up. Okay, so that's our homework assignment. Okay.
No, I still my homework assignment will be also to watch the Brazilian Championship thing.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Watch it. You'll love it.
Okay.
Everybody should watch it. It's called Never Give Up? No. Forever Young? No. Bull Durham? No, I can't remember what it's called, but it's Brazil national team in the
Copa America.
Copa America 2019.
Copa America.
Sacer. All right, brother. I'll see you in episode 48. And maybe tonight when I kick your arse in FIFA 2020.
Good luck with that.
Bastard.
Peace.